If you've ever relied on a modern tarp in bad weather, you already know its limits. They tear under tension, flap themselves to pieces in wind, degrade under sunlight, and fail right when you need them most. Now, consider this. During World War II, soldiers crossed continents, endured monsoons, freezing rain, salt spray, and months of field use with a fabric that outperformed most modern tarps in strength, longevity, and waterproofing. It didn't crinkle, didn't shatter in cold, and didn't rely on plastic. This fabric kept men alive, equipment dry, and shelters intact under conditions that would destroy most modern gear. The fact that it's largely forgotten today says more about manufacturing priorities than performance. What World War II forces relied on wasn't a gimmick material. It was waxed cotton canvas, often called wax duck or oil-treated canvas, and it remains one of the most practical waterproof fabrics ever fielded. An interesting choice indeed. You see, during World War II, armies had already dismissed the idea of using plastic-like materials long before plastics became the norm. Now, if we delve into the minds of military planners from the 1930s and 1940s, they had a clear understanding. Field equipment, they knew, had to withstand abrasion, tension, and the rigours of constant handling. Early attempts with rubberized fabrics did exist, but, well, they were quite problematic. These materials were heavy, became stiff in cold weather, and frankly, they were prone to cracking. Waxed cotton canvas, on the other hand, presented a superior option. It managed to marry the tensile strength of tightly woven cotton duck with a waterproofing technique that didn't sacrifice flexibility. Quite the innovation, wouldn't you say? Unlike modern tarps, which are often thin polyethylene sheets reinforced with weak mesh, World War II canvas was, well, structural. It could be tied, folded, dragged, and reused endlessly without catastrophic failure. How waxed cotton achieved waterproofing without sacrificing strength? The waterproofing came from saturating dense cotton fabric with waxes or oils that filled the microscopic gaps between fibres. This blocked water penetration while still allowing the fabric to breathe slightly, preventing internal condensation. That balance is something modern tarps still struggle to achieve. Rain hit the surface and beaded off. Wind didn't turn the fabric into a sail because it had weight and drape. When punctured, damage didn't spread. The weave held firm, unlike plastic sheets that tear outward under stress. Why soldiers trusted this fabric for shelters, ponchos, and equipment covers. Waxed canvas was used for shelter halves, ground sheets, ponchos, vehicle covers, ammo bags, and field packs. It could be sewn, repaired, and re-waxed in the field. If it wore thin, it didn't suddenly fail. It degraded slowly and predictably. This reliability truly mattered, you see. A failed shelter in the field wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a threat to survival. During World War II, armies made a deliberate choice. They opted for materials that failed gracefully, not suddenly. Now, why do modern tarps fail where World War II canvas excels? It's quite simple, really. Modern tarps tend to prioritize cost and weight reduction over durability. Thin plastics, they degrade under ultraviolet exposure, become brittle in the cold, and stretch under load until, well, the grommets tear out. Wax canvas, it behaves quite differently. The fabric itself, you see, carries the load. Grommets are reinforced, and tension is cleverly distributed across the weave instead of concentrating at weak points. Quite ingenious, isn't it? In high winds, a waxed canvas shelter holds shape instead of snapping. In freezing temperatures, it remains flexible, and in heat, it doesn't soften or deform. How this fabric can still be applied today for real-world use. If you're building an outdoor shelter, a field tarp, gear cover or ground cloth, waxed cotton canvas remains, honestly, one of the best materials available. Modern versions can be purchased or, made at home using untreated cotton duck fabric and wax blends. The process is straightforward. Start with heavyweight cotton canvas. Melt a mixture of beeswax and paraffin. So, you want to apply it evenly using heat, letting the wax really soak into the fibres. Once it cools, the fabric turns water-resistant, wind-resistant, and, honestly, remarkably tough. This stuff can be used for bushcraft shelters, vehicle covers, firewood protection pack covers, and even emergency ponchos. Unlike plastic, it can be repaired with a needle and thread, and retreated, pretty much indefinitely. Now, why should survivalists and historians care about this forgotten material? In long-term survival scenarios, plastic is, frankly, a liability. It degrades, it cracks, and it relies on industrial production. Wax canvas, a material that can be maintained indefinitely with just some basic materials. You see, during wartime shortages, this quality made it absolutely ideal. And, it still holds its charm today, especially for those embracing off-grid living. Now, let's consider some practical benefits. Wax canvas produces less noise, offers less glare, and has better thermal behavior than those plastic sheets. Soldiers back in the day truly valued these traits for concealment. And outdoorsmen appreciate them for the very same reasons even now. So, why did modern industry abandon performance for convenience, you might wonder? Well, wax canvas requires labour, maintenance and, yes, time. In contrast, plastic tarps, they're disposable. Modern markets, they've come to favour replacement over repair. But make no mistake, that shift didn't happen because waxed canvas stopped working. Oh no, it happened because it worked too long to be profitable. WWII equipment was built to last because, replacement just wasn't guaranteed. That mindset produced tools and materials that honestly still outperform modern equivalents, even decades later. What this fabric really teaches us is all about durability and preparedness. The lesson here isn't just about nostalgia. It's, about practicality. Materials that survive war tend to survive pretty much everything else. Waxed cotton canvas, for example, earned its place through repeated use under extreme conditions, not just because of marketing claims. If you care about gear that works when conditions turn bad, the past still has answers well worth recovering. If this breakdown of forgotten wartime materials helped you rethink modern gear, make sure to subscribe for more serious, research-driven history and survival content. And, share this video with anyone who values durability, preparedness, and those lessons that only history can teach.